Now that I have your attention, we're going to be talking about something a little less Abby and a little more brainy. This week I'm going to be talking about how the EPA just doesn't want scientists to do their job, how Fox News is so good at spinning a story about Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to talk about the adorable and talented Sam Smith. After that, we're going to be chatting it up with activist Ashlee Marie Preston about why she's been going head-to-head with Caitlyn Jenner. I'm Dana Goldberg, and you are watching Out in Left Field. All right, it was 104 degrees in Los Angeles this week, and we've also had one of the most destructive hurricane seasons on record. Yet Scott Pruitt of the EPA has insisted on silencing his scientists. Why? Because they insist on talking about that pesky little hoax created by the Chinese, climate change. Now, if you aren't familiar with Scott Pruitt, he was actually appointed to the EPA by Trump, even though he was actively suing the EPA. Apparently, scientists were threatening to give us facts about climate change. Sons of bitches. So instead, the EPA just canceled the talk. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why would Scott Pruitt make that decision? Oh, right, because he doesn't believe that carbon gas contributes to climate change, which is actually in direct opposition to what the EPA believes. It's on their website. I tell you what is adding to climate change, and it's all this hot air that's coming out of our administration. And speaking of hot air, Fox News has decided to spin another story about who? Hillary Clinton. Shocking. This time, they were supposedly outraged because Hillary Clinton cursed while she was talking about Donald Trump's inauguration speech. Watch.
We were listening to this really dark, divisive speech that I describe as a cry from the white nationalist gut. And I was so disappointed, really so sad that it wasn't an outreach. It was a narrowing and a hammering of what he had said before. And it's reported, so I put it in the book, it's reported that George W. Bush, as it ends, says that was some weird shit.
Hillary Rodham Clinton. Do not curse on late night television. If you are going to curse, do it like the Fox News messiah, Donald Trump. Do it in front of 40,000 Boy Scouts. Have you no respect? Give me a break, Fox News. First of all, she was quoting one of your beloved Republicans, George W. Bush. Secondly, just stop it. This is the same news channel that tweeted an article out. Fears for Hillary's health after twisted ankle or broken toe. And you know what? Chelsea Clinton actually had the best Twitter response to that one. Some perspective. Not worried about my mom's broken toe. I am worried about people in Puerto Rico not having clean water, food, or power. I love a good liberal troll. What I don't like are the bigoted and homophobic people that seem to get brave in the comment section of articles. The adorable and insanely talented Sam Smith came out recently about his gender fluidity. Now, he hasn't put any kind of a label on it, which is why I am still using the pronoun he as opposed to the non-binary pronoun they. He simply said he feels just as much like a woman as he does a man. Now, in our community, it's not that hard to wrap our brains around that. Well, if you are a bigoted homophobe and don't have a brain to wrap around something, you get asinine comments like, you're mentally ill and need help. Now, all of this hate is coming from people that believe there's a man who lives in the sky and either punishes or rewards people based on their behavior here on Earth. Yet, because Sam Smith decides he does not need to subscribe to gender roles, apparently he's mentally ill? I guarantee I will see Sam Smith pulling off a pair of hot red heels before I see your man in the sky coming down to say, "You're welcome," to that football player who just thanked him for the game-winning touchdown. Sam Smith, congratulations. It is so nice to have another vocal advocate coming out in our community. And speaking of advocates, we are about to meet one of the incredible women that is going head-to-head with Caitlyn Jenner. Trans activist, writer, and public speaker, Ashlee Marie Preston. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back and joining us. My guest this week is a powerful voice in the trans community. She's an activist. She is also a contributing writer for not only BuzzFeed, but right here at The Advocate. Please welcome to Out in Left Field, Ashlee Marie Preston. Hi, darling.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule, doing good in the world, to join us here for Out in Left Field.
Well, this is always a pleasure, so thank you for having me.
All right, we're getting into this because people want to know. You are making waves right now because you have been going head-to-head with Caitlyn Jenner.
They weren't ready.
No. There was a moment where this beautiful woman decided at the Trans Chorus of Los Angeles, they were having a concert, and Caitlyn was there, and you had just had enough. And so you took that opportunity to approach her and speak out loud, very out loud, about how you felt about what was happening with her in this community and especially this administration. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit because I know that there is a lot of controversy within even our own community about this. Why is it so bad? And I already, in my head, trust me, I have my own opinions, but why is it so bad that Caitlyn Jenner would show up to support the trans course of Los Angeles?
Because it's not support. First of all, many of the contributions that she's been giving is nothing more than a tax shelter. Second of all, we're tired of being used as a social experiment, kind of this project or somewhat of an extension of the Kardashian brand. And the other piece is that she never really made amends to the community at large for the harm and hurt that she brought on when she continued to support an administration that has set out to aim legislation at our head since day one.
That was well said. There were some people in the community that had a little bit to say about your approach. Do you have any regrets about the way you approached Caitlyn at this event?
Absolutely not. However, post November 8th,
Yeah.
all respectability politics out the window.
And I agree with you. I've definitely lost my inner voice. It's now just an outside voice. All I have is an outside voice when it comes to this administration.
It was meant to start the conversation
Right.
on a national level, much like her own transition. It was meant to kind of open up the conversation, but she was never meant to lead the movement.
So you made a conscious decision this time when you wanted to actually advocate that Caitlyn Jenner was going to be awarded a very prestigious award at Trans Nation last weekend. Mm-hmm. And you took it upon yourself in a very beautiful, and in what you called a Kaepernick moment for you.
African American individuals in general are often demonized and portrayed as aggressors.
Right.
And so here was an opportunity that I had to communicate that message in a different way, but it was an opportunity to actually include other voices.
Yes.
So that I wasn't centering myself, which
Right.
is kind of what we have a problem with Caitlyn around. I was in bed with pneumonia. Actually.
Oh my God. Pneumonia is not it's not a performer. She was actually sick. She wasn't in bed with pneumonia. Because I'm telling you, there are some performer names where I'm like, is pneumonia a person that dances in West Hollywood?
And if it is not, it should be. There were two pieces to that. First of all, the foundation, so the president of her foundation was actually on the hosting committee, curator, all that for the actual event.
Okay.
So she was part of the decision-making process for honoring Caitlyn. It's self-congratulatory.
Sure.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, why wouldn't you take this moment to prop up a hard-working African-American trans woman who's done so much for the community over the last 30 years?
Yeah.
Furthermore, continuing to deem Caitlyn as this trans media trailblazer further propagates anti-blackness within the community, because not only has Jasmine been a trailblazer, but you have Janet Mock, you have Laverne Cox. I wrote this petition. I was very specific about the issues that we had with Caitlyn Jenner being presented that award at that event.
Right.
I talked about what the space meant to so many trans people. I talked about even the organization, how everything that Caitlyn stands for is the antithesis of their very mission and core values.
Right.
And we seem to forget what those are within our community, because we're just a microcosm of what's going on out there in the larger world.
Right. You feel like there's still a lot of white privilege within our community that is not being addressed.
Well, what we're starting to take away in some of these larger conversations is that race always supersedes gender. Yes, you are a marginalized individual as someone who is a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. You still have the capacity to oppress other people. Lateral oppression is real as fuck.
Right.
And people aren't really catching on to that until now.
How can people watching who really want to know how to support not just the trans community, but women of color within the trans community? Because right now you are one of the most vulnerable communities in our country right now.
The best rule of thumb I've always said is ask. It's
great.
always going to be different for different people. And I think allyship has somehow become the new chihuahua in a handbag. Allyship is really about aligning yourself with the core values and principles and objectives of marginalized communities.
Right.
Allyship is not coming in and saying that you, as a Jewish lesbian woman or as a white gay man, or know what we need better than we do.
Absolutely.
Having the conversation around what allyship looks like has really given people the opportunity to be more intentional about it. Right. Google is powerful. Google is a powerful tool.
Is there anything that Caitlyn Jenner can do at this point that could win your support?
Deep down, there will always be a part of me that has one eye open. You know what I mean? Kind of like, I don't know. But again, it's not about me. It really is about community.
Right.
So when more people feel heard and when more people feel like they aren't puppets to her propaganda,
Right.
then we're definitely open to having her in spaces more.
Okay.
Also, it's unrealistic to say that she can't go anywhere and she's completely like out. As interesting of a choice as that is, you can be a Republican and be trans or LGBTQ but you don't get to continuously insert yourself in safe spaces that are designated for those who have been harmed by your political and social efforts.
I wish I was articulate as you are trying to voice some of that, because I feel like what you just said is what a lot of people feel. I get what you're doing. Fine, you want to vote that way, but stop making my life miserable doing it. What's next for you?
There is a podcast entitled Shook.
Great. Where can we get that?
Reverie. So we're in the process of moving that forward, and then we're looking at doing video content in January through Reverie.
Great.
And I'm still writing and contributing and shaking it up and snatching wigs and doing everything that I need to do to get the conversation moving forward. At the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about those who are coming behind us. And I am aware that I stand on the shoulders of giants who've done so many amazing things, but I feel that it's time that we actually carry that work. And I'm already expecting that I'm going to get pushback because when you're a light and you walk into a room, you cause others to see themselves.
I think that's a hell of a way to end. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us this week. We have another incredible guest next week. As always, I am Dana Goldberg, and you have been watching Out in Left Field.
Well, you have great hair, so people have to...
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, so that's privilege. Like that.
That's a little Jew. That's my Jew fro. Insist on silencing his scientists when... Well, this is going to be fun. He insists on silencing... Damn it. He insists... Son of a bitch. Decides... I can't just slip into a Southern accent in the middle of a monologue. Like you've never just slipped into a Southern accent, Monica. Hey everyone, we have a brand new episode. We have a brand new episode. New. What? I don't know whose voice that was. It's so hot in here. She won't stop.